Welcome to the Beyond Average podcast, where we go beyond revenue and talk about what really builds enterprise value, leadership, culture, customer connection, and scalable systems through the four intangible capitals. So I'm Kristin Carlson, and joining me today is Ben Favret, Chief Executive Officer of True C Systems in New Orleans, Louisiana. So Ben, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
Can you tell us, what was your journey into starting this company?
So first off, I love the name of your podcast. And what attracted me to it is one of the things I always tell my team is average is your enemy. So beyond average is really the goal, right? It's the average that kills a company. You need to have people, systems, and processes that get you beyond average. So that was the real trigger that got me engaged with you in the podcast. So
Thank you.
great line, great line. What attracted me to TrueC was I saw a company that was struggling and had tremendous potential to enable the AI future of healthcare. And I had been in healthcare since 1987, right when I got out of college, and had been part of some cool products. But with what AI was doing and what it will do to transform day-to-day life from a healthcare perspective, I thought, wow, you know what? This is something that I want to be part of and build, grow, and develop. And that what got me excited about the company the most.
Okay, so what is True C Systems? What is it?
TrueC turns your cell phone into a clinical imaging device. So the problem we solve is your cell phone was never designed to be a medical photography tool, except 93% of clinicians take photos of patients with their cell phone. Your cell phone is designed to make you look cute and pretty for Facebook and Instagram, not take a clinically accurate and authentic photo. TrueC standardizes medical photography using a calibration slate, like you see right here, and an app that you download on your cell phone so you can take a verifiably accurate, authentic photo that the clinician, the payer, the FDA, anybody, the patient can trust to represent what the condition looked like on live observation at the clinician's office.
Awesome. So do you see this eventually being on all of our phones for us to be able to
You,
take accurate
you,
photos?
you now see what I saw in TrueC.
Yeah.
You got it. Like it was very intuitive for you, right? So initially, we want clinicians to take photos with their cell phones, right? They're already doing it. But ultimately, we will get the photos in from all the clinicians, and we'll be able to use those photos to do AI diagnostic tool development. And in fact, we've already created one that predicts the healing of wounds. And we've also been able to show that our technology is far superior to traditional phones in training AI models. So that is the future. So imagine, I had little kids, or imagine you're out for a hike and you come inside and there's a rash on your arm. And you look at that rash on your kid or on yourself and you think, is that poison ivy? Is that a bug bite? Or is that an infection? And you pull out the TrueC app and you take a picture and it says, oh, that's poison ivy. Put some calamine lotion on it. Or that's cellulitis. You need to go to the urgent care and get an antibiotic. That's the future of TrueC. We're not there yet, but we're heading there very, very quickly. Look, you can today with AI download an app, take a picture of a plant, and the AI will tell you what kind of plant it is, what diseases the plant has, how to treat it, how much water it needs, how much fertilizer it needs. If you can do it for a plant, you can do it
For
for a
us.
human. You just need to take accurate photos. And
Right.
TrueC produces verifiably accurate photos that will be able to enable that.
Yeah. So can you share some of the success stories or testimonials you're getting from clinicians that are using this?
Sure. So we have 15 health systems that are using TrueC today, both in inpatient and outpatient settings. I think it does, three things for the clinician that we hear. One is they can trust the photo. And this is a problem every day for them, right? If you're a dermatologist, you're searching for, well, is that that what I'm seeing on this photo, was that photo taken correctly, or how do I find the spot on the patient based off of that photo? So this is something they're doing today. Secondly, is operationally, TrueSee, it's so easy to use. A patient can take a photo. And the last patient you want coming into your office is a patient that there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Well, TrueSee, the patient can send you a photo, and 65% of patients are already sending photos to their doctor via text. With TrueSee, you can send that photo in a HIPAA secure environment that links directly to your electronic health record, and the clinician can get reimbursed, and you have a verifiably accurate photo that both the patient and the clinician can trust. And the last thing is it enables reimbursement for the clinician. And in today's world, clinicians are constantly getting cut in their reimbursement. They're looking for new ways to be able to see patients, and TrueSee enables that. And there's already reimbursement codes for both patients sending them photos as well as when they do what's known as an interprofessional consultation. I take a picture of a patient. I'm a primary care doctor. I send it to you, Kristin, the wound care specialist or the infectious disease specialist to review it. There's a reimbursement for you in that as well. And we enable all those things with our app.
Okay. And so I saw that one of your partners is Epic. I mean, do you see the ability to share that across the medical system then? To
Yeah.
share
So,
photos across?
you tap into the number one question we get when we present to customers isn't about does the app work? It isn't about is it needed? Because they all know medical photography is wrong because they're taking pictures on their cell phone and they look at it next to the patient and they see that the photos are wrong. I don't need to convince clinicians of this problem.
Right.
The number one question we get is, are you integrated into our electronic health record? And that is quickly becoming a core competency of the company. I hired a chief technology officer, Jay Scannell. He has done over 20,000 electronic health record integrations in his career. So
Oh,
we have built TrueSee to be able to integrate fast and easily with any electronic health record. We have a partnership with Altera. We're partnered with Epic, but any electronic health record we can integrate with.
awesome. So where was the company when you started and where are you today?
Yeah. The company had been around for a while and was struggling. I don't think the team that was in place had done well, and but they didn't have healthcare domain expertise and research expertise. So that was kind of the gap I filled is how do we take our database of 2 million photos and turn that into a resource that's going to increase our credibility in the market and give us a way to scientifically prove the effectiveness of our technology. And then how do we commercialize that? So I think that was kind of the gap that I filled. And what has gotten, this, I love talking about it. I'm excited about what we're doing. And it's really a cool technology that solves a major problem that's only going to grow. Today, a question everybody has when they look at something is, well, did AI generate this? And with TrueSee, we solve that problem because we have a verifiably accurate, authenticated photo that you can trust.
Excellent. So I think you when you came in, if I can use words we already used, it's just maybe the company was average or maybe below average, and your goal is to get it beyond average and make it significant. I mean, where are you on that journey and where do you see, I know we talked a little bit about your vision or where it could go, but what do you see
Yeah. So I think there's kind of three things that are interesting, about me that kind of position me to be able to do this for the company. One is I've been a part of 7 healthcare startups. So I've been bought, sold, merged, acquired, everything. And that gives me a lot of experience and understanding of what to do. Second is I was a member of the Malcolm Baldrige Performance Criteria Board of Examiners. And that's the structure that I build into the company. So what is how do you organize it to have clear strategic objectives? And what's the next step you need to take in each part of the company to be able to get to the next step of your maturity and evolution as a company? And then the third thing is, I was a professional athlete. I was a water skier and was successful. I won national championships, was on the U.S. team. We won a world championship, set a few national records. And as an athlete, you learn that you're never going to win all the time. How are you going to have the mental toughness to overcome challenges and be successful when things go sideways? Because nothing is ever going to be perfect. So how do you have that agility, that adaptability, the flexibility you need to say, okay, this is a shit show, but here's our opportunity because of that. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do with it. And I think a lot of times entrepreneurs get overwhelmed by the challenges and it beats them down. And, you need to be very resilient. And I think that history that I have has kind of trained me to have that resilience, that adaptability, and to always find what is the opportunity. This is what happened to us. Okay, we can't change that. What are we going to do going forward?
Well said. And I relate very well to that with my own athletic career and corporate career.
What was your athletic career? I didn't know you had an athletic career.
Yeah, well, I started in volleyball back
Oh, I
in the
love
day,
volleyball.
and
One of my favorite sports to watch during the Olympics.
yeah, and I always thought it was the perfect sport, but then I picked up soccer at age 38 and was on a coach team for 20 years, and now I'm
Wow.
pickleball.
Right
So
on.
you never
Football's
stop,
fun.
right? But you do see all those correlations and perseverance and and resiliency when you're
Yeah.
an athlete, right? And I applied that into my corporate life
Right.
and
Right.
my
I think
leadership. Yeah.
sports trains you very well for business. Um, to wanting to be coached, learning from others, learning to work as a team, knowing when do you need to lead, when you need to follow. All of those things you learn being part of teams and, as an athlete.
Yeah, and I saw your quote on your website here. The job of a coach isn't to tell you how good you are, it is to make you better than you ever thought you could be. And I
Yeah.
really love that. So I left it up on my screen.
Yeah, well, no, it's true, right? A lot of people think, oh, well, you just need to fluff somebody up and make them feel good about themselves. Well, a good coach sees more than what you see. You see all the flaws in yourself and you get overcome by those things. But a good coach is going to have that frank, uncomfortable conversation and say, hey, you're missing the picture here, dude. Or when you're beating yourself up, is hey, you're doing better than you think. You're on track. Success is never overnight. It's very rare. Once in a lifetime does like what happened in the French Open with that little girl that came through the qualifiers. That's happened one time. You go
Right.
through the qualifiers to get into the main draw and get that experience. Now that girl has gotten so much experience, who knows where she can take it? But she's opened up her eyes to a whole nother way of thinking and a whole new level of experiences. And it's those levels. It's what do you need to do to get to that next step? And sometimes the coach is the one, you always want to win. And the coach says, look, the win was you went from here to here. That's the win.
Right. Right. And yeah, how do you take that into your company as a leader and how do you empower your team?
Yeah. Every day. Right. I mean, you have to say, hey, look, we do a kind of a weekly strategic planning call with my leadership team, and we review, okay, what did we do last week? What do we have to do this week? And every week it's kind of like, okay, we these are the successes we had. And every quarter we get together and we review what did we say we were going to do? Did we do it? What successes did we have? You celebrate the successes and then you adjust your plan based off of where you are. Sometimes, oh, we didn't do that one. We need to keep that one on the list, or that doesn't matter anymore based on what you know. But it's that constant self-assessment process of where you are and what's the next thing you need to do today that's most important to improve and get you to the next step in your evolution that matters most.
And I love that. I love that focus on the next step, right? And we just
Yeah.
take that 1% improvement. How can we get better today than we were yesterday, right? And that's where,
So easy. Yeah, it's so easy to be overwhelmed by the mission and the vision and the hundred things you need to do to get there, when really what you need to do is, what do I have to get done today that's going to make us better?
excellent. So I mean, I'm sure there were so many learnings as being an Olympian and an athlete. I mean, what did you learn operating at that level? If that makes any sense of a question.
What have I learned? Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest thing is there's different horses for different courses. Um, I think as a leader, especially when I was young, I thought everybody was wired the way I was wired, and they're not. Um, and you don't need everybody to be wired that way. You know, if you're running a factory, you need those people who want to do that consistent rote thing every day and do it fast and do it well. And you want those people to love what they're doing and be great at it, because that matters. If you put me in that position, I would lose my mind. But matching the right people to the right position, that's for them. And to try to take someone that loves doing that and doesn't aspire to be anything more or anything less, and they're happy doing that, man, incentivize, motivate, keep those people fired up, keep them happy. And the people that you do identify that have that need, want, desire to move up, keep feeding them challenges. But I think that was one of the big learnings is not everybody's wired like you, and not everybody's going to think and see what you do. And I think a lot of times as a leader, you think it's so intuitive to you, but really, and I'll tell you a great story. I was coaching, I got coerced, and coerced is the wrong term. I offered to help coach my son's t-ball team when he was like 5 years old. And I was a I would have been comfortable coaching anything, but I never really played baseball, didn't know a lot about it. And the guy said, look, I want you to be the head coach, but it's 5-year-olds. Like, you're teaching them how to put on a glove, how to hold the ball. This is really stuff. You can look it up on YouTube. I said, okay, I'll do it. So sure enough, you can Google everything on how to coach T-ball and learn. So you're just trying to first practice, you're trying to assess what are the skills of these kids? Like, can they run? Can they put on their glove? Do they know how to hold the ball? What can they hold the bat? So we had a good practice and it was a lot of fun. And there were like, 10, 12 kids there. And the last thing I just wanted to see, who knows how to run. So I lined up all the kids from first base to third base, and I stood at the line between home plate and third base, or first base and second base, home plate and third base. And all the parents were in the third base dugout. And I lined the kids up and I just walked to the end of the line and raised my hands and said, on your marks, get set, go. 3 kids ran to me, 3 kids ran to the outfield, and 4 kids ran to the dugout. And the parents are laughing like crazy. I'm laughing. I'm like, what in the world just happened? And I thought, Monty Python has a great skit called the 100-yard dash for people with no sense of direction. It's like I had unintentionally done that. These kids were just running everywhere. And it dawned on me that I wasn't a good coach. I wasn't clear on what I need to do. It was so obvious to me that I'm standing here, you're going to run here, except I didn't tell these kids who didn't know what we were doing that, look, okay, let's have a race. I want you to run to this line right here. And I think sometimes as a leader, it's so intuitive to you, and you know what it needs to look like, and you know what it looks, and you know when you want to have it. you forget to give that information to the people on your team, and they're like, I didn't know that's what you wanted. If you would have told me, I could have done it. So being abundantly clear, I think, is another important lesson I've learned.
I would agree. And I think too, sometimes we forget what we're assuming
Yeah,
as a leader.
right.
And sometimes it even takes those below, um, time to digest the change that we might be wanting to happen, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's important. So, any last words of advice that you would give for somebody that's ready to take on, a company that might not be above average, might be below average?
Yeah. So first off, be fearless. I think one of the things you learn as an athlete, and the job of a good coach is to see things in you that you don't see in yourself, is I promise everybody out there is capable of greater things than they ever thought possible. So be fearless. Just go for it. Don't let the problems, look, you have to do your due diligence. If it's a dumb idea, there's a reason why the company is failing. Make sure you understand the root cause and have a path for how you're going to solve it. But sometimes you just have to look at things and say, you know what? Selling ice was a great idea before refrigeration. Today, it's not that great of an idea. Um, so, understand the market, do your due diligence, but be fearless. I mean, and the second thing is having your own company, being an entrepreneur is a 24/7 thing. When you're not at work, you're thinking about it. And you have to want to be involved in that. And your family has to understand what that's about, right? Weekends, nights, bizarre hours. But there's nothing, at least for me, it's inconceivable to go back and work for a company like Pfizer or something like that, like I did right out of college. Once you get that entrepreneurial blood running through your veins, it's inconceivable to do anything but.
Right. And I think we always see how much potential there is, right? So there's constant potential that we're trying
Yeah,
to,
well, look, the whole idea of, oh, that they got lucky or there was an overnight success is bullshit.
right.
There are no, okay, you can win the lottery and get lucky. That's luck. Building a company is a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of focus, a lot of discipline, a lot of building your systems and processes. Um, there are no overnight successes. Everybody, oh, you know, Jeff Bezos got lucky, Elon Musk got lucky. No, they worked their asses off.
Right.
They created great things. Um, so be willing to do it. You'll get
Awesome.
lucky. Work hard.
Right. And I think we learned that out of our athletic careers, right? That
Yeah,
that's really what it
right.
takes.
I think that's a great thing. All the tournaments I won, I knew I was going to win because I knew I'd done the preparation before. It was like, well, this is just a foregone conclusion. Confidence builds competence. So the more confident you become, the better you get, and vice versa. The more confident you are, the more confident you are. So
And they feed on each other.
yeah,
Yeah.
they feed on each other.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your
Thank you.
company
It was
with
a
us.
pleasure.
I do see how I'm excited because we know that this is needed in the medical field, and we'll all have it at the tip of our fingers soon on our own phones. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye bye.